You just gave it right to him,
That's all
man.
right. They won't
You
get it.
gotta tease
Karen
them.
won't get it.
Yeah.
Karen and Gary won't get it. They'll be
Karen and Gary
fine.
and Chad and
That's
Chad,
sad. Those three won't get it. It'll be
our three fans. Oh,
our
we love you
three
guys.
fans.
Welcome to the Greatest Lists podcast, a show about music and lists. This season, your hosts Jason and Eric are counting down the top 25 guitar solos of the 80s and the top 25 guitar solos of the 90s. Think your favorite made the list? Tune in and find out. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to Greatest Lists, a music and talk podcast featuring lists of the greatest songs of all time. I'm Eric, your host for this episode. Joining me, as always, is my co-host Jason. What's going on, Jason?
Hey, man, doing fine. Just went through the zoo. Luckily, I didn't get locked up, so I guess my animal instincts didn't kick in.
Oh my goodness. We are continuing our season 2 list of our favorite guitar solos of all time, and we're currently in the 80s. But before we continue, this episode is sponsored by HalloweenCostumes.com, which features the largest online selection of Halloween costumes ever. Use our promo link in the show notes to save 15% off your entire order. Just click over and the savings are automatically added to your cart. But don't wait too long. You got to have your order in by October 31st.
Yeah, most people do. You know, they like to get their costumes before Halloween.
I don't think I would be ordering a costume online on October 30th or October 31st, thinking it's going to get there.
They probably have quick shipping options as well if you wait that long.
Probably so.
I'm a procrastinator, but
Well,
once I get in the Halloween spirit, which it takes me a minute, then I'm there and I'm like, all right, I want to wear my costume to work every day.
And that's where the salt and pepper costumes have to come.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, we're making our way through the top 25 guitar solos of the 80s. And this episode, we're talking about the song Little Fighter from the band White Lion.
Behind the music.
Guitarist Vito Bratta was born in 1961 in Staten Island, New York. Started playing guitar at the age of 13. He co-founded the band White Lion with lead singer Mike Tramp in 1983 and played with the band until they broke up in 1992. The band produced 4 albums in that time, the biggest being the album Pride that debuted in 1987. Great album. Since the band's breakup in 92, Bratta has rarely been seen in public. He still lives in Staten Island, where he works and takes care of his family. In 2003, lead singer Mike Tramp attempted to reunite with Bratta, but was unsuccessful. Tramp talked about Bratta in later interviews, claiming Bratta was always quiet and maintained a certain distance from the rest of the band, even when they were together. In 2007, Bratta gave his first live interview in over 12 years, where he revealed that his father had gone through a 5-year illness, which required a large amount of personal time and commitment on Vito's part. In addition to that, in 1997, Vito injured his wrist and finds it painful to move his hand up and down the guitar neck.
Oh, man.
However, he still manages to play classical guitar without excessive discomfort. In addition to that, though, he clarified that he had never ruled out a White Lion or Mike Tramp reunion, only that it's been impossible due to family obligations and his wrist injury.
I mean, God bless the man. I mean, it takes. Well, no, I'm not trying to be funny. I know. I'm saying it takes a lot from a person to, put your flag in the sand and say, I'm done. Yeah. And this is more important to me.
Yep.
So there's how many countless guitar legends, rock legends, whatever you want, musicians in general have just, substance abuse and just, probably gone way past their time to, and just, ignore family and friends. And, you think about even wrestlers, and I watched some of those documentaries on wrestlers and all the time they're spent on the road. away from their families and broken families and stuff. So, hats off to this guy for, he might have made some awesome music. Well, he did make some awesome music in the 80s.
And he could have kept going. Instead, he chose
right. But to focus on your family, that takes a lot of guts. So,
true story.
I respect the man.
Although Brada has not released any music since 1992, many musicians, both singers and guitar players, have continued to praise his songwriting skills and technical ability. Zakk Wylde, of course, of Ozzy Osbourne fame and Black Label Society, has stated that Brada is the only guitarist whose tapping technique he enjoyed. He also praised Vito's originality and pointed out that he considers the solo in the song Wait one of the best solos he has ever heard. That's high praise from Zakk Wylde.
Yeah. That was on my my honorable mentions. Wait, yeah.
Mike Tramp also mentioned that many accomplished guitar players have turned him down when he's tried to attempt to put together a new version of White Lion, saying, we've tried to do a new White Lion with the likes of Warren DeMartini of Rat and Paul Gilbert and a lot of others, but no one wants to touch Vito's guitar parts.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's high praise.
I've heard those guys play, and if they don't want to touch these parts, that's high praise right there. After multiple attempts to reunite with Brada, Tramp finally said in 2014 that there would never be any more White Lion going forward. As far as gear, Brada was more often than not seen playing a Steinberger guitar. Steinbergers were most notable for not having a headstock and having their tuning pegs at the bottom of the guitar. And you've probably seen Eddie Van Halen playing one too around the time of the 5150 album. Brada mentioned in several interviews that not only did that feature of not having a headstock make the guitar lighter and more balanced, but the use of the graphite in the neck and the body gave the guitar a unique sound.
Let's get personal.
So my first encounter with White Lion was the Pride album. Actually, it was the Wait video on MTV. I saw that, and we went to the mall like immediately and bought the tape because it was just amazing. And the rest of the, just off that one song, and then of course the rest of the album is just as good. And then we actually saw him. We saw White Lion open for Stryper of all people. And we were standing right in front of Vito the entire show, and he was doing everything in concert that we heard him do on the tape and the CD. He's incredible. He's melodic. He's technical. He's a phenomenal guitar player who, like you just said in the last section, he could have made a lot more music had he not been injured. But even before he got injured, he left the business to take care of his family. I'm sure he still had a lot more music left in him if it hadn't been for that. But after that album, the next album was just as good. Yeah, I can without reservation say I cannot pull off any lick that Vito Brada can play. There's a lot of these guitar players that I can pull off, a lick or two or a solo. There's not a thing that this man plays that I can pull off. So he's always been one of my favorites, and I've always been in awe of this guy.
Awesome.
What about you?
Yeah, so I'm the same way. Like not totally the same way, but my first experience was probably the Wait video on MTV, and one of my friends had the tape, the Pride album, so I remember listening to that when I was younger. It might have been my buddy Scott up the street that we'll talk about again here, but sadly, for some reason, that's all I know is the Pride album. I've never gone past or before the Pride album, so this is the first time I've heard this song.
Oh wow!
And
seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
So like I love Wait and I love the Pride album, but for some reason I've just never explored beyond that.
That's
So
amazing.
now I have a reason to. Thank you.
Wow.
The breakdown.
So one of my favorite YouTube channels is a guy named Ben Eller. And the channel is called Weekend Wankshop. He's a guitar player, and what he does is during every episode, he breaks down all kinds of solos and songs and shows you how to play them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always, what he does is he'll play what he's demonstrating at full speed, and then he plays it at what he calls stepdad speed, just to slow it down. So Ben Eller, he's a phenomenal guitarist, and even he calls some of these licks in this song a pain in the ass to play. Like I said, I can't pull any of them off, even at stepdad speed. But I will put a link to his show, his episode where he's teaching this solo, and you can watch somebody play the solo, and when he plays it at full speed, and he still says it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. So, but I mentioned the Steinberger guitar a few minutes ago. This song is actually played tuned a whole step up. Most guitars are tuned to the standard E tuning, and this guitar is tuned up a full step. And so what's important about the Steinberger guitar is Steinberger's had something called a trans trim, where you could pull up or push down on the tremolo when it was in a certain mode, and it would retune the entire guitar depending on whether you pulled up or pushed it down. Right. And you can get, there's a lot. So if you listen to 5150 from Van Halen, you'll hear Eddie using this kind of guitar a lot. And if you watch, they have a live video concert called Live Without a Net. You'll see him playing one of these guitars and tuning it as he's playing. It was very weird to hear somebody just pull up on the tremolo and it retune the whole guitar. But so I say all that to say that this guitar or this song is tuned a whole step up. And it's incredible to watch guys I kind of fell down a rabbit hole yesterday watching guys play the solo. And while Ben Eller, he just plays it in standard tuning, he doesn't play it in tuned up. Some of these guys try to play it a step up, but in standard tuning. To watch them try to pull this guitar solo off in the wrong tuning is incredible, because you've added an entire level of complexity to a guitar solo that's already just ridiculous to begin with. But Vito does just about everything. He taps, he plays very fast. Yeah. He plays, he does a lot of string skipping. He has so many tools in his arsenal, and he makes them all look effortless. And he combines them all effortlessly. I mean, everything sounds so effortless when he plays it. This is probably the best example. This solo is probably the best example of that, because he goes from one end of the neck to the other, and it's all there's no breaks in between. He starts and he goes, and there's no stopping until he's at the end of the solo.
One word that I wrote down was insane.
Yeah.
There's just so many techniques, like you said, and I love how the pacing is even different. That's how he slows the pace back down to enter back into the song.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely fits the White Lion just sound, and I love the mix of the more mellow parts and the picking, and then just like straight up metal, it seems like, but even the mellow part kind of at the beginning of the song and at the end of the solo, it just has an awesome tempo. Yeah. And that's the White Lining feel. You get that in Wait too, at the beginning, where they're, it almost sounds acoustic. It might be acoustic, but and then they just kick in, and that's the same thing with Little Fighter. It's the same way.
And this song isn't even just, it's not just the solo. I mean, if you listen to this song in headphones, listen to what he's playing during the verse and the chorus. It's all, it's not just him playing bar chords. He's playing.
Right.
He's finger picking. He's playing.
Oh yeah.
And it's a clinic on on how to write melodic music. I mean, it's all over the place. The entire song, not just the solo.
Right.
So, Little Fighter comes in at number 19 on our countdown of the top guitar solos of the 80s. I got 3 bonus songs for you, and honestly, I could probably have about 9 bonus songs for you when it comes to video. So the first one is off the Pride album. It's a song called Sweet Little Lovin', which is probably my favorite solo off of that album. And then I got 2 more songs for you, both from the Big Game album, which is the follow-up to Pride. The first one is Goin Home Tonight. That's the album opener. That's a hot little one. And then there's another song called If My Mind Is Evil, and that guitar solo is cooking it just as well. I mean, like I said, I could probably add the entire Big Game album as a bonus song. But those are probably my 2 favorites off that album. So if you have Spotify Premium, which we recommend, stay tuned to hear all 3 of those songs in their entirety. If you're a free Spotify user, you're going to hear about 30 seconds of them. And if you're outside of Spotify, well, all you're going to hear is us. So you're going to have to visit the Song Whip links in the show notes that will connect you with the songs in your favorite music app. If you want to support us, get your name in the show notes, click over to patreon.com/The Retro Network. That's our home base for everything. Yeah, you can also find us on Twix or Twitter, X or whatever. If you prefer that, at Greatest Lists. Also, you can find us on YouTube at Greatest Lists or on our website, greatestlistpodcast.com. Jason will be back in charge for our number 18 song in the next episode. Thanks for listening to The Greatest Lists, and we look forward to continuing our countdown next time.
You've been listening to The Greatest Lists.